Sorry I look like hell, but I feel like hell. Friends, this is a video that I'd always hoped I'd never have to make. As a lot of you have already heard, after 35 years on the stage at the Majestic Theater, Phantom of the Opera will be closing on Broadway in February of next year. I really don't know where to begin, what to say. I don't know that I possess the vocabulary to express what I'm feeling, but I'm going to try. I heard the news through Facebook yesterday. A friend screenshotted an article from the New York Times, and my stomach just dropped. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was your average internet troll prank to stir people up, or that it had to be a rumor gone awry. Yeah, at least that's what I told myself. We very narrowly avoided this in 2020 during COVID, if you remember. But Phantom endured and reopened. But this time, it seems that one of our worst fears has been realized. I honestly don't know how to process this. I'm still in denial, honestly, and I keep hoping that this is a really bad dream or a really evil marketing ploy. But I have always known, since I first fell in love with this story, that this was a possibility, and that it would likely happen in my lifetime. 16 years ago, I became utterly consumed by the story of the Phantom of the Opera, completely immersed in a world so much wider and with so many more wonderful people that share in it than most people would realize. And for 16 years, I have dreaded and tried to prepare myself for this day. But you really just can't. And I know this would seem incredibly silly to most people outside of the fandom, given the state of the world right now, but Phantom's enduring reign through the ups and downs of the world ever since the 80s is, it was inspiring and gave a lot of us hope. It's been this kind of shining beacon in the dark. You can't kill Phantom. It's what everybody has always said. For me, this isn't just about the end of an era, which it very much is. It's a loss of that steadfast, resilient symbol that I've relied on for so many years. I was actually introduced to Phantom for the first time when I was about 4 or 5. My first memory of it was when my mom saw the touring show in '96 with my dad. She came home singing Point of No Return at the top of her lungs, and I was so confused and obviously very embarrassed because she did this in front of the babysitter, and I was trying so hard to be cool. Throughout my childhood, I had family members give me little music boxes and other odds and ends. I saw many Phantom-inspired movies and TV shows. Phantom has always been present in my life, it just took me until I was about 14 to truly appreciate it. I have a more lighthearted video about my experience in discovering Phantom, so I'll link that if you need something a little less dreary. But when I fully realized and appreciated the vast universe that is Phantom of the Opera, it was far more to me than just a piece of art that I enjoyed. My childhood was rough in a lot of ways. My life felt chaotic and out of control, like it was constantly spinning and I had nothing to hold on to. And then Phantom enters the scene. Granted, I quickly found an appreciation for far more than just the Weber musical, but that's not the point. Even though there is so much more to this fandom than just the musical, it's what the musical has stood for, albeit unwittingly, in its time on the stage. In a time when my whole world was chaos and change and unsteady, Phantom, on its throne for decades, was a constant, an anchor. Everything else in my life might have been dust in the wind, but Phantom was not. It was still sitting there in that theater, reigning supreme, unmovable as a mountain, no matter what. And I think a lot of people felt similarly, given how long it's been a part of Broadway history. Yesterday, I lost that constant. In a time when I really, truly needed it. And personally, I have a hard time knowing where to go from here. But being in the position that I am within our community, I feel a sense of duty to keep the spirits up of anyone whose life was touched by the story of the opera ghost. More than ever, I feel it's my duty to not just disappear and leave my friends behind. So many of you have been so kind over my 3 years on YouTube, telling me how you anticipate my videos and they make your day. I've lost a rock in my life, and if you feel the same way, I want to become yours. So I'm telling you, as devastating as this loss is, and how bleak the future might look, Phantom doesn't die here, friends. Because the musical isn't Phantom of the Opera, we are. The Phantom of the Opera has stayed alive for so long because of people like us who have been touched by the story in many different ways, with different opinions and different backgrounds, all coming together. We're a community, a family, united by a love of this story, no matter how you found it or at what age. The story and its message don't go away just because the Majestic Theater houses a different production. And that's what I'm holding on to. I don't want you guys to worry about me. I'm not going anywhere. I have a lot to deal with because of this, but I know a few things. No, I never got to play Christine on Broadway, which was my dream since I started singing. But you know what I did get to do? I got to audition, and honestly, that's much farther than I ever thought I'd realistically get. And honestly, the amount of times that you guys and some of the professionals that I've worked with have said that I would make a good Christine, it means more than you can possibly imagine. So I wasn't what the producers were looking for at the time. That's a couple of opinions versus you, the public, who are the ones spending your money and know what you want to see. That is just as validating, if not more so. So thank you. And maybe you'll see me in a community production one day. Who knows? I also just have a lot of wonderful memories to get me through this time, and I hope you do too. I was fortunate enough to see it live on Broadway several times, and I'm very thankful that I chose to see it twice the last time that I was in New York. Jeremy Stoll and Kaylee Ann Voorhees were a pretty great duo to end on. And we do have the 25th anniversary recording when we want to relive the magic of the live show to the best of our ability, even if it's not quite the same. Not all the live shows are gone. It still lives on in the West End and at the Sydney Opera House, and there are many touring productions. Revivals are a thing. Maybe in 10 years or so it'll make its return. But most importantly, what I know and what I think will help keep me comforted is knowing that we have each other. The original Phantom was written over 130 years ago, and time hasn't managed to kill it. Eric is resilient, and we must be too. So go ahead and go out, support the show in its final months if you can. Unfortunately, I doubt I'll make it out to New York before closing, but if you're nearby, just show the cast and crew some love, because you know this has to be as horrible for them as it is us. Thinking of Phantom veterans like Scott and Keita, who loved the show so much that that's where they spent half of their career, we're all in a great deal of pain. It's very hard to imagine a world without Phantom on Broadway. I was born in '91. I have never known a day in my life where it wasn't there. And I personally feel like those New York lights are going to shine a bit dimmer from now on. I don't know that I'll be able to stomach returning ever again. I don't think that I can continue a career in musical theater. The prospect of even just Phantom's ensemble or orchestra was all that had me powering through these last several years in regard to the musical theater side of my career. I was going to finally go for my equity card, but I don't know that I want to anymore. It's going to take me a very long time to accept this, honestly, life-altering change. As much else as there is to say, this video has been hard enough to make. I don't like crying in front of literally anyone, even my fiance, let alone the entire internet. Please just know that I am still here. The community is still here. And despite this devastating loss to North American Phantom fans and Broadway, we can all unite as we go through this together. You all have shown already so much support, and it really has helped. So, thank you. There's always comfort to be found in knowing that you're not alone. If it is any consolation, I am not abandoning you guys. You are all fantastic with a PH, and there isn't anything that can take that from us. Keep your hand proudly at the level of your eyes.